Librarians, what's the saddest story behind an overdue book? I was sorting through returned books when I found this padded envelope sitting on my desk. No return address, just thick tape everywhere like someone was really careful about what was inside. I almost threw it away thinking it was junk mail, but something made me open it instead. Inside was this beat-up copy of The Catcher in the Rye that looked like it had been through hell. Pages yellow and brittle, cover barely hanging on, and underneath was this letter written in the shakiest handwriting I'd ever seen. It started with, "Dear folks at Greenwood Library," and was signed by someone named Frank from Montana. The guy was 82 years old and explaining why he was returning a book he borrowed in 1961. 64 years late. Frank wrote that he was 18 when he checked out that book. Said he was planning to read it over the weekend and bring it back Monday like always. But Sunday night, his dad came home drunk again and started throwing punches. Frank packed everything he owned into a backpack, grabbed that library book without thinking, and caught the first train heading west. He never looked back. The letter kept going. Frank wrote about how that book followed him everywhere, from a tent in Colorado where he worked construction, to a tiny apartment in Nevada where he met his first wife, to the trailer in Montana where he'd lived for the past 30 years. The book survived 2 floods, a house fire, and 2 divorces. He said it wasn't really about the book anymore. It was about having something that was his, something that reminded him of the person he used to be before life beat him down. Frank mentioned his memory was going now. Alzheimer's, his daughter called it. Most days he couldn't remember what he had for breakfast, but he still remembered our library's address perfectly. Said he wanted to return the book while he still knew where it belonged. The craziest part? He taped a $500 check to the letter, written in that same shaky handwriting with a note that said, "For late fees and all the trouble." I sat there staring at this letter for like 20 minutes. My coworker Janet came over asking if I was okay because I guess I looked pretty messed up. I showed her the letter and she started crying right there in the middle of the library. I put the book back in our system, but I couldn't bring myself to just stick it back on the shelf with all the others. Instead, I made a little display case near the front desk, put the book inside with Frank's letter right next to it under a sign that read, "Returned, but never overdue." I mailed his check back that same day with a note saying his account was clear and thanking him for finally bringing our book home. 2 weeks later, Frank's daughter called, said Frank had passed away peacefully in his sleep just 5 days after mailing that package. She wanted to thank us for making his last days a little easier, knowing he'd finally finished something he started 64 years ago.